I saw him in the frozen food aisle. Alive. Breathing. Choosing between two brands of breaded chicken like death had never touched him. For a moment, my body forgot how to work. My hand tightened around the cart handle until my knuckles burned. The hum of the freezers grew louder, sharper. Like the store itself was warning me not to move. 6 months. 6 months since I stood beside a closed casket. 6 months since strangers told me how strong I was. 6 months since I learned how quiet a house can become when the lie holding it together finally collapses. And there he was. My husband. Older, maybe. Thinner. A baseball cap pulled low. Different jacket. Same shoulders. Same scar near the ear he'd gotten when we were young and stupid and believed time was loyal. I didn't call his name. Instinct told me not to. Grief had taught me one thing well: hope is dangerous. It makes you reckless. Loud. Obvious. So I followed him. From a distance. A careful one. I watched the way he walked. Slight limp in the left leg. Still there. Watched the way he checked his phone, glanced around, avoided eye contact. Not the behavior of a man returning from the dead. The behavior of a man hiding. My heart didn't race. It slowed. That's when I knew this wasn't a miracle. It was a decision. He paid in cash. I noticed that. No cards. No name. No trace. He exited through the side door like he already knew where the cameras were. I stayed behind, pretending to browse. My mind replayed the night he died. The phone call. The officer's voice too calm. The explanation too neat. The accident that left nothing recognizable. Convenient. I told myself I was imagining things. Trauma does that. It reanimates the dead, puts familiar faces on strangers. But denial has a sound. And this didn't sound like it. Outside, rain had started. I stepped into it without my coat, letting the cold soak through me as I watched him load groceries into a car I didn't recognize. New plates. Different state. Before he drove away, he looked up. For half a second, our eyes met through the windshield. Recognition flashed. Not shock. Fear. He knew me. And in that instant, something inside me settled into place. He hadn't come back to life. He had escaped it. And whatever he'd left behind, including me, was collateral damage. I went home soaked, shaking, and silent. I didn't cry. I opened my laptop instead. Because grief can paralyze you. But betrayal? Betrayal sharpens. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I was afraid. Because my mind wouldn't stop assembling pieces it had ignored for months out of mercy. The insurance payout that took longer than it should have. The signature on the death certificate that never quite matched his handwriting. The phone he'd insisted was lost weeks before the accident. I'd called it grief. It was preparation. By morning, I had a plan. I started with what he thought was erased. Old emails. Archived backups. A cloud account he'd once logged into on my laptop and never fully logged out of. Men like him believe disappearance erases responsibility. It doesn't. It only delays exposure. There it was. A second identity. Not sloppy, but not perfect either. A rental agreement under a different name. Transfers broken into careful amounts. A woman I didn't recognize at first. Then I did. Her laugh had echoed through our house once. Her hand had rested on my kitchen counter. A friend. Always smiling. Always watching. I didn't confront anyone. I didn't ask questions. I observed. I followed patterns. The grocery store again. Same time. Different day. Same caution. I noted the car. The route. Where it parked. Where it stayed. A small townhouse. Rented. Temporary. Inside, I saw her once through a window. Younger than me. Nervous. Waiting for something that never quite arrives. They weren't living happily ever after. They were surviving. That mattered. I dug deeper. Turns out, death makes a man invisible, but not immune. Debts don't die. Obligations linger. And disappearing doesn't mean clean. It means careless. I found the account he forgot about. The one he used only once, years ago, to move money quietly. I found the loophole he assumed no one else would notice. I noticed. I sat at my dining table, the one we'd argued over keeping, and mapped it all out. His escape. His timing. The lie he built so carefully it fooled even the authorities. He didn't run from me. He ran from consequences. And he left me holding the aftermath like it was a gift. I thought about confronting him. About stepping into that townhouse and watching his face collapse in real time. I decided against it. He deserved precision. Not emotion. So I let him believe he was safe. For 2 weeks. Long enough for him to relax. Long enough to slip. Long enough to stop looking over his shoulder. Then I made one call. Not to him. To someone who knew how fragile false deaths really are. When you peel back the paperwork. When you ask the right questions. When you stop pretending accidents are always accidents. I watched from across the street the day the knock came. He opened the door. I saw it in his posture. The moment he realized. He'd never really left. I walked away before they took him. Rain again. Same cold. This time, I didn't feel it. I didn't stay to watch them put the cuffs on. I didn't need the image. Justice doesn't require witnesses. It only requires inevitability. I went home instead. Made tea. Sat in the chair he used to claim was too stiff. I remembered how he'd complained about small things. How inconvenience felt like injustice to him. Funny. He'd engineered an entire disappearance to avoid accountability, and still couldn't outrun the smallest oversight. By evening, my phone rang. An unknown number. I let it ring twice before answering. Silence. Then breathing. I knew that sound better than my own. You weren't supposed to find out, he said. His voice cracked on the last word. I closed my eyes. Not from pain. From clarity. You died 6 months ago, I replied calmly. I buried you. I mourned you. I rebuilt my life around the absence you chose. A pause. They're saying it's fraud. Identity theft. Insurance manipulation, he whispered. They think you helped me. I smiled. They don't think that, I said. They know better. Another pause. Longer this time. You planned this, he said. Yes. Not pride. Not anger. Just fact. You followed me, he accused. No, I corrected. I waited for you to forget yourself. He started crying then. Not the loud kind. The humiliated kind. The sound men make when they realize the woman they underestimated. Was never confused, only patient. I loved you, he said. I stood up and walked to the window. Outside, the world continued. Cars passed. People lived. No one noticed a fallen man on the other end of a phone line. You loved control, I said. I loved the truth. He begged after that. For understanding. For mercy. For silence. I gave him none of it. When the call ended, I blocked the number. Not out of anger. Out of completion. The next weeks were quiet. Papers finalized. Accounts frozen. Stories corrected. His name surfaced again, this time in places he couldn't erase it from. I watched the headlines without expression. People asked if I was okay. I said yes. And for the first time since his death, it was true. I didn't feel victorious. I felt finished. There's a difference. I sold the house. Donated what I didn't want. Kept what was mine. Traveled light. Slept better. Sometimes, late at night, I think about the woman he ran with. How she traded stability for secrecy. How she mistook escape for safety. I don't pity her. I understand her. But I am not her. He chose disappearance. I chose exposure. And in the end, only one of us survived with their name intact.